wide range of financial issues in the Treasury Department's budget. Join us now, Senator Chris Coons, a ranking Democrat on this, the Appropriations Subcommittee on Financial Services and General Government. And we're going to talk about the 10 a.m. meeting, but we've got Senator Mitchell here. We've been talking a lot about health care, Senator Coons. So I know the senator wants to talk to you about that. So we can start with that, or would you like to get out what you'd like to say on tax reform or something else that you'd be the budget, something else at 10 a.m. What pick your poison. What do you want to talk about?
I'll simply say I'm thrilled to be on with Senator Mitchell, and I look forward to his questions.
Okay, go for it,
yes.
Senator.
Chris, Senator McConnell has said that if the Republicans fail to enact repeal, that it will be inevitable they'll have to sit down with Democrats and to try to work out ways to shore up the current system and to correct the deficiencies in Obamacare. Are you and other Democrats ready to do that? Are you now formulating proposals and planning for that discussion?
Yes, we are, Senator. I've got a number of bills that I've either sponsored or co-sponsored that would address some of the challenges that the Affordable Care Act markets are now facing. There's a reinsurance proposal that would provide for the exchanges the same sort of stability that we've seen in Medicare Part D. There's also two bills that I carried forward in the last Congress that would reduce some of the reporting and regulatory burden and expand the small business tax credit. As we heard from Senator McCain last night in a riveting speech on the floor of the Senate, the process that's been followed to get us to this point in the Republican majority's efforts to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act has lacked public input, has lacked hearings and bipartisan conversation, and I think that is the path we should be following. We should have hearings where we've got leaders in healthcare and in the insurance industry coming and working with us to identify which of the challenges or shortcomings we've got in the marketplace we need to address, and what we can do to meet President Trump's campaign promises that will have higher quality insurance at a more affordable cost for a larger number of Americans. Right now, we're heading in the opposite direction.
All right, Senator Mitchell also talked about that it might have been a better idea to start with tax reform because there was some bipartisan interest. But I look at some of your comments in the past. The tax reform is going to be very, very difficult as well because of the current environment. And then you kind of talk about the Senate, that the Senate, I think you're saying that the Senate's not quite as partisan as the House. You're more insulated. But then I don't know. I have a different view of the Senate. It's like, you guys talk, and each senator, you do represent the entire state. And sometimes I think it's even harder to move in the Senate than it is in the House. And there's certain reasons why it seems more collegial, but sometimes that bogs things down even more. For whatever reason, the public's frustrated with both houses at this point.
That's right. I think the general public is frustrated with all of Washington. But what I'm going to be bringing up this morning with Secretary Mnuchin is a few important issues. First is making sure that we're able to move forward, that we get our appropriations process done this year. I'm the ranking Democrat on the subcommittee that has all of Treasury, including IRS. More Americans interact with the IRS than any other federal agency, and I want to make sure that we have good levels of constituent service, that when folks call in to an IRS hotline or seek advice from an IRS tax advisor, they're able to get a response. Second, the president's budget proposed eliminating something, CDFIs, that have broad bipartisan support. And I expect you'll see both the chair and I asking questions about why not have community development finance institutions, because they've really helped lead local economic development. Last, something that I agree on with the Secretary is the importance of terrorism financing. The administration's asking for more investment in the unit in Treasury that investigates sanctions violations, whether by Iran or Russia or North Korea. And I think they need more resources, and they want to focus more on some of the challenges we have in the Middle East in terms of terrorism financing. A key topic will also be the debt ceiling. Secretary Mnuchin has called for a clean debt ceiling raise. Since the Republicans control the House and the Senate, it's my expectation that their leadership will take up delivering that clean vote, something that I've long supported as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you're out of touch. I mean, I had an interaction with the IRS about 15 years ago. It's one of the worst experiences of my life. I mean, you think that's the agency that most Americans interact with the most? That's like the last thing any American wants to do is interact with the IRS, Senator. Are you?
I didn't say people want to interact with the IRS. I meant
that's like your heart stops when you see it in the mail.
Let me be clear.
Okay.
Over the last 7 years, there have been cuts year over year in terms of the number of personnel at the IRS. So that at some points 3, 4, 5 years ago, half of all people who called the IRS helpline never got an answer.
Oh, I see what you're. Okay.
That's frustrating people who want to pay their taxes or who want. Nobody wants to pay their taxes. That's frustrating good citizens who are trying to get clarity on our complex tax code.
Yep.
While we are waiting for the comprehensive tax reform that would make our code easier to understand and to follow, I think we should provide the staffing for the helpline for the hundreds of thousands of folks who call in and try and get help.
They're wonderful people. They're great public servants, and they're very necessary, and I give them nothing but kudos and respect. Yes, Senator.
Joe, the Senate was intended to slow things down.
Right. Well, you succeeded.
The rules. The rules. That's right. The rules of the Senate are unique in the world, and they give individual senators enormous ability to slow things down obstruct things from happening. And we've seen that carried out to near perfection in recent years.
Yeah, exactly. Senator Coons, thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck. Good luck this morning. I would say Godspeed, but I guess it's God slow. Slow it down. Right. Slow it down. Easy. Easy does it. See you later.
Coming up when we return this morning, stocks to watch.